So a lot of us wondered why Ryan Garcia looked a little bit weird against Rolly Romero, and part of it was obviously credit to Rolly, dropped Ryan in the second round and hurt him, got some respect from King Ryan, but he's also reportedly getting hand surgery immediately, and that's just interesting to hear because it's like, did that happen? You know, did that injury take place before the Rolly fight? Is that the reason why Ryan was so inactive when it came to his punch output? Because I had never seen Ryan Garcia be so conservative, and in my mind I was like, oh, it's because he feels Rolly's power. But ultimately, if we're hearing that he needs hand surgery, I don't think we can say that it's an excuse, because if you need surgery for something, it's serious, right? So for Ryan Garcia, if he really is getting hand surgery, then, you know, much credit to him, because he still made the fight happen. I know it was a big event. Maybe he felt the pressure to continue on with the fight. I don't know whether or not the injury took place before the Rolly fight or it was a result of the Rolly fight, but still, you know, for Ryan Garcia, that could explain a lot as to why we're not hearing a lot from him. He's not talking on social media as much. Maybe he's had this issue before the Rolly fight in general, and then it worsened in the actual fight, and that's why we saw Ryan Garcia with such low output. Maybe because he had the hurt hand and, you know, he didn't want to make it worse, but he had to try to win the fight, but he just couldn't because of his hand. You know, that's a very possible outcome, but it is concerning for sure. Whether or not it's his left hand or his right hand is a big question, because obviously his money punches that left hook. If he's not able to throw it, you know, properly and with that speed, you know, like he was before, because he's going to be worried about whether or not his hand's going to hurt again. You know, he has 6 weeks to recover and then get back to training, but that's the reason why, you know, we know now that that's the reason why Ryan and Devin aren't fighting immediately. I think they're rethinking this whole rematch thing, because now there are excuses involved for Team Haney and for Team Garcia. You know, Ryan doesn't want to go into a Devin Haney fight knowing that he has a hurt hand, because, you know, if he loses to Devin, then everybody's going to be like, yeah, it's the PEDs that got him the victory in the first fight. And then Devin, you know, obviously he doesn't want excuses from Ryan Garcia. He wants to beat the best version of Ryan. So hearing that Ryan has a hurt hand, Devin's probably going to go in a different direction, try to chase that Teofimo Lopez fight. Even though Teo's in negotiations to fight Boots, I feel like if it doesn't happen, if that fight between Boots and Teo doesn't materialize, then Haney could fight Teofimo Lopez, and I think that's a tremendous fight as well, because stylistically, you look at Teo, he's explosive, he's got good reflexes, he's got power, and they're around the same weight class. You know, they're basically in the same weight class, because Teo fights at 140, but he has no problem moving up and challenging Boots Ennis at 147, so I can't imagine that he's going to have trouble moving up to fight Devin. I think he'd feel really comfortable against Devin. It's all about, can they get the money right, with Turki Al-Sheikh being that facilitator in that big mega fight between Haney and Teofimo potentially. I think that they both get paid great amounts of money, and we get a great fight, because stylistically Teo, like I said, is very explosive. Every time we count Teo out, he performs and shocks the world. So against Devin Haney, I feel like Devin might be the more slick boxer. He might have a little bit of a better jab, but Teo is so athletically gifted, and so gifted when it comes to his reflexes. He styles it on his opponents, and he's very confident in there. So it could be a really entertaining fight as well. And I think for Ryan, as soon as he recovers from his hand surgery, his hand procedure that he has, I feel like he has to go for that Rolly rematch and set the record straight, and, you know, show the people that the only reason he lost to Rolly is because of the hand injury. And whether or not that's true or not, you know, we'd have to see when he fights Rolly again. But to hear that he's having hand surgery, you can't help but think, you know, was that the reason why he looked so average against Rolly Romero? Was that the reason why his punch output was so low? You know, we'll have to see, but it could be an explanation as to why Ryan wasn't throwing a lot of shots, in addition to the respect that he had for Rolly's power once he got dropped in that second round. But we'll see what happens. Ryan Garcia reportedly getting hand surgery. You know, prayers and thoughts to Ryan Garcia. Hopefully that all goes well and he recovers speedily, and we get to see him back in the ring again, because I still do think he has a lot left in the sport of boxing, and there are many big fights out there for him. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next Nabs Boxing video. Peace!